distracted by waking up and getting the morning going, but I'm glad to be here to catch up on comms activities because it's been a couple of meetings since. And I think that's about it. I guess my intention is just to be here, have a good meeting. So,
Cool. Yeah. So, and just to warn you, be again on your best behavior because I'm streaming now via OBS, so live. Anyways, hooray! So for people who would watch this, and who want to get introduced to this, our issues are always on github.com/giveth/communications /communication. Sorry. And so just to hit it off, let's until someone protests against this, let's start like we always do, which is like picking out an issue and then we'll just hop from one to the other. So the thing that I wanted to mention is two things. First is the one that I still saw in new, but I can actually close or move at least, is that Griff. It's that Griff is talking at Aricon. Griff did a great panel, so I'm probably just gonna I'm gonna leave it open in a sense then, because Aragon is still like cutting out different presentations, and I think it's just a nice one to tweet once that specific panel is out. Unless anyone and so let me know if there are any thoughts on that one. But so Aragon was really great for the people who didn't make it there. A lot of good connections, and I think there will be some topics linked to that still coming up. Yay, Bowen has a naked guy against behind him, and go ahead.
all I was going to say is the podcast people are looking into podcasting all of the talks because I guess they're getting open sourced or something.
Yes.
And so I guess they're in talks with them to like make that happen. So I wanted you to be aware of that one if you weren't already.
I was half. So maybe you can create so the DATT podcast is on there. So maybe you can just put a comment on there. So just to say that this is the new content that is coming.
Okay.
And then I'll keep to stay on the topic. There is more podcast content, and that is from GirlyCon, and you recorded that, right, Kai? But that's maybe not podcast content, but
so yeah, I'm still talking. I was actually looking up if they tweeted. So the last I heard was they added this to their channel, and when I asked, because I had this crazy camera angle, it was like a round discussion, and I have a clear field of view, like a narrow one, so you can only see some people, and they're probably not speaking. And so it was a discussion about art and blockchain. And this could be made into a podcast. I asked Maria Paula, and she said yes. And I think Bowen was venturing forth, so I can share the audio with you, Bowen. And
yeah, I was just it turned into a very long-winded and heated discussion where it became sort of a clash of ideas when I was bringing things up with them. So like. I'm not exactly sure whether or not they're going to use it. There's a problem that they have with things that don't necessarily seem to be serial content. So I'm not going to push it, but I was trying to get them to have a sort of bric-a-brac random like one-offs and interviews that don't necessarily, aren't part of a show or recordings from things podcast for the network.
They seemed open to it though. They seemed open to it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of arguing between me and Bruce first, and it was just kind of bringing me down and like not like endearing me to the idea of continuing to work on this.
Oops.
Like, but we'll see how it all works out. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but like, yeah.
And so
there's also no pressure. I think like if you guys want it, I can send it to you. If not, that's fine. I just feel it should be released at some level.
I'm in total agreement with you.
Mm-hmm. And there is more, Kai, right? It's not just the art discussion. Before there were also 2 presentations that you recorded.
So, but that were really presentations, and in the sense of pitches with slides, and there were just like 3 slides in the beginning of the blockchain discussion. That's why I thought it could be used on a podcast channel. It is not a podcast per se. So I'm also with the people who make the Dead podcasts in that sense. So it's not it might not be as easy to listen to than a regular podcast.
Okay, well, I'll let you guys check like if it's with them, if it makes sense. It seemed to me that they were like really like hell yes, share it as much as possible kind of attitude. Okay, anything else on the podcasts? Okay, if not, the second thing on my mind, also because Griff has to go, I'd like to tackle that one first. I created a new one for working. So we talked about maybe having a weekly, or we'll see what form it goes into, a sort of series on Jeff talking with whoever wants to about everything that he's working on. And so the proposal I possibly had was that like Griff talks to Jeff and Zargam, and they go to like the slides, because we had one evening that was really interesting where Griff was explaining and Jeff was explaining when we were in Berlin. And I think this is, to me, I understood half. So my proposal would be like, hey, maybe we could have a video series where Jeff and Zargam explain like different concepts of this huge complex topic to like Griff, and that we even have like a second layer of communication, which is like Griff explaining it, dumbing it down even more so that it gets to my level of understanding, and that I can just ask all my stupid questions about token bonding curves. That can be YouTube content in itself, but it could also be, for me, if I really get it very well, the start for like writing about it in a way that is like accessible for more people. So that's a proposal for like 2 layers of content, to repeat it. So a high level of like, what is Jeff working on with block science, and a second level of like, and the more technical side of it, and then a more broadly accessible separate series. And we don't have to do everything at once. I would already be happy if we start with one of both initiatives. So, Griff, what do you think? Jeff, in any case, said that he was very open to this and interested in working on this. He also said it in his Lumio outcome, but I don't know if Griff is still there.
So I can maybe speak a little of this. I was next to them when they talked yesterday. So Jeff is currently at this Nature 2.0 thing with Josh, and he said they have some documentation people there that make drawings and make also video interviews. And I told him to get on one of those interviews if he can. So this might even prove redundant if he manages to do that, but I'm sure he will be open to whatever you propose.
Yeah,
that should not happen.
That would be super cool, but and he should do that, of course. But I wouldn't. I don't think it would be redundant in the sense that there is so much to talk about, and I would love it to be an ongoing series, so that we like that Giveth like expands, and that people start to that we have regular content, because like Jeff, as he said himself, he's like absorbing all the time, and he has no time to like output, and this is a way of helping him in some form to at least like record his thoughts, his learnings, and then other people can like jump onto this. Me or others are welcome, of course, as well, to like help write out some of the things. So it's, to me, it's like a series that is ongoing on a semi regular basis.
Yeah, redundant was not at all the right word here. You're right.
Okay, so Griff, another try. I don't know if you heard all of this, or I'm afraid he's gone. And if you do, you are muted. No. So, well, in any case, Jeff saw it, I see, the thing, and we'll talk about it because he's gonna be on some more calls soon. So then we'll talk about like how we can tackle this, and I'm talking to him anyways as well. Okay. As always, giving it over to someone else now who has something top of mind, so that I don't steal all the bandwidth. Who wants to talk about a specific topic that is on there, possibly, and if not, please do create it. Danny, I see cat herding initiative still in new. Oh, that's I who created that one. Kai, maybe you have maybe you have an update on the cat herding initiative.
Oh yeah, of course. So they were fully funded for the first year, and he said if they needed more funding, probably in the next round, he wanted an excuse to. Lane said that he wanted an excuse to play with Giveth anyway. So they're very open. It just became from this time critical bun became a more open thing. So
it's
we
not
should not
something that's gonna happen immediately then, I guess.
No.
I saw he also he tweeted something today or yesterday saying that they're gonna create to manage the cat herders, that they're creating a DAO on Aragon. So that's their next step apparently. So I don't think it's, unfortunately, not a Giveth thing at this moment.
No, that's great. If we get to manage the integration going between Aragon and Giveth, they could be users of that.
So, but if they're funded for the next year, he's probably busy as he is, not gonna like experiment with it right immediately, right?
They're open anyway. We can maybe when Dani becomes more active after her trip again, she wants to. We'll see them at other conferences, and we can pick up the discussion. But just for now, he said they are funded and they kind of want to look into different other things. But he's always down to play with Giveth Deb.
Okay, well then I moved it to on hold for now, and then added the comments until this gets picked up again. What else? Odyssey. So you said, so for the moment Jeff is there and Josh is there. Do you know, Kai, like what the next steps are for that one?
It's really about both are pursuing different things. Josh is connecting those guys to whatever he is and we are working on, and the GovLab stuff and different like many directions. You know, Josh and Jeff is trying to own the bonding curve pitch and like explain it to people, and gets very he said that he got a very excited response because essentially the event is about recreating how to manage the commons. Mm-hmm. And so everybody's very interested in, if you say we have an idea to make markets around these commons and commons issues.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, I'll add that one. And then for at Denver, so what Jeff is going to be there as well, because I heard that the idea is to also talk about token bonding curves, or start something with token bonding curves at Denver.
Bowen is going, I think. I'm not going. It's just we have those hackathons coming up, and this will be a recurring theme. And at Denver is the first try to, formalize some ideas. If you ask Griff, he would say build the interface or a UI and surrounding smart contracts, if possible. Or there he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
So, where do you guys want me to start? I could hear everything, but for some reason I couldn't I had to reset my phone to make it work.
We were, well, as you wish. We're just talking now about at Denver, but maybe you can still what do you think about the token bonding curves weekly series?
Yeah. So on that, totally down. To make it, if it's going to happen, it takes cat herding, because both Jeff and I are like dreamers up in the air, and we need to be lassoed down and tied down like bondage.
I
okay?
love bondage. I love doing that.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have a great time with it. Okay, it's gonna be something for everyone to watch. Probably sell it online, but then so as long as there's cat herding involved and someone's willing to take point in making that happen, then it will work out great. The other piece was, what was it? The podcast. I wanted to make a comment on the podcast that the big thing is that they're hurting for money. So like, I have been funding it up until this point, and they're basically like, we need to figure out a funding stream to make it worth it. And I'm like,
currently you're paying it personally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I'm not looking to continue. I mean, I want it to be there, but like not for every podcast we can dream up. So it's one of those things where I'm hoping that I gave them a kickstart. Hopefully they can like power through and be like, yeah, we want this podcast, and they can find some revenue streams. But I think that's the real core issue it's not that they don't want to do GirlyCon or whatever. It's that, hey, they're not going to do anything for free these days anymore.
And that makes sense. But Griff, is this not like the things that we need to start being more assertive and ask for money in a sense? Like GirlyCon, it's a way for GirlyCon to also get their content out. Imagine that Bruce, if Bruce now creates a milestone and says, I'm going to do this, it takes that much time, and sends a mail to Maria Paula and asks, hey, could you guys like support us and like give us like the 0.1 ETH that we need for this or something?
Yeah, if it's probably going to be more than $10.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
They will, they will. That's the thing. They just need to make a milestone, or someone needs to make a milestone, and they need to give an estimation on how much it would cost to put that up, and then it gets funded, And
that's how we need to use Giveth. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Bowen,
I would throw 0.1 Ether into it for sure.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, they have to. That's what I think we need to stimulate people more and more to do this. This is how the Giveth platform should work. So, Bowen, could you maybe, because I'm completely behind on these messages, could you maybe propose that to Bruce so that he does this, and then you guys can just like proactively just reach out to Maria Paula, maybe via Kai or whatever, but that it just happens.
I mean, there were a lot of people in that art thing that, if a mass email went out to make that into a podcast, I bet people would throw
I just also found a form on a tweet from the hostess of the discussion. So there is some follow-up going on anyway. And it's, as far as I know, not up. So
yeah, well, you see, that's a perfect way of like spreading it. And like Griff just said, like that's how you do crowdfunding, and it's also promotion for the podcast itself. So they want to do marketing, but like just retweeting, like the only one who's retweeting right now is like Griff and me and Giveth. But also doing marketing is also the crowdfunding part itself. So and like reaching out to GirlyCon and saying like, hey, can you put this in like the mail you will be sending out with this form or whatever? So be proactive and like make sure that people hear you. That's the thing they can do. So it would be great if you could pass on a message, Bowen, so that they do this.
Afterwards, maybe can we like be clear on what that message is?
I mean, yeah. I think it's just, hey guys, make a milestone for GirlyCon and let's see if we can, or how much would it cost to make this GirlyCon?
Yeah. Is it a single episode?
I think it'd just be a single episode.
Okay, so the thing is they aren't going to want to do that until they have multiple episodes that they can cobble together into something like the decentralized surprise random episode tree.
They can do that, but then they should know that that is right now not happening from our side. So that means now they have an opportunity to have some revenue and some live. Otherwise, like it will not. People will not see the ATT podcast anymore. And like personally, I would recommend like keep the momentum going.
Well, I understand that. I mean, this is where the philosophical difference that I had with what's going on came from. So like I can pass along the message, and I will see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Josh is more open to being less structured.
And he's going to
Okay,
be
but
in Denver.
he is.
Yeah. So
Nice.
like I can actually bring it up with him in person next week.
Yeah, and add him to the Telegram group I just formed for people who are in Denver.
Do that right now.
Perfect. Griff, other
in order to preserve some freshness, I think I'm still gonna go ahead and upload the video to one of our YouTube channels and ask Maria Paula if it's okay to share with the original participants of the discussion, just for them to,
Sure. Yeah, so you should, and I hope the DATT podcast also does something about it, because indeed it's best to keep it fresh. But that's their decision.
I have to go. So what was the at Denver thing?
The at Denver thing was just asking, like, what is the next step there? Like, what do you want to do there?
So there's this guy, Corey, who I think would be down to help us play with the token bonding curve thing. And we just need to strategize about what we want to build. And I think the goal is to build basically just a UI for token bonding curve, for our specific token bonding curve idea, that will show people how to do, how to put money in and how they take money out, and not do the smart contract side of things, and just do the design. And the thing is, I'm a judge, so I can't officially be part of this. I shouldn't be officially part of this, or I'll learn how much of a part of this I can be during this hackathon for the future ones. And then, and basically, is anyone else going to Denver? I'm very curious who else from the Giveth community. But like even like Pazlar or Abram or like random peeps from general channel, maybe we should put out like a who's going to Denver.
Yeah, good point. I'll do that.
I am literally typing that message in Riot right now.
Great, thanks.
Nice. and Laurel, I found a sweet hostel, a really sweet spot that was like by far the cheapest place, but actually good value as well for place to crash. So once our people reserve rooms, we can also open that up to other late people.
Nice. Hey Griff, a quick question before you go then. For the series, I know you have a busy week, but next week will be worse. Can I try to set up a call with you and Jeff to like figure out the details how we can like kick this off and do this, even if it's like 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think tomorrow is probably the best time for that during the day.
Okay. He's in he's in European time zone as well. Perfect. Will do. Okay. As long as you're still there, Griff, Cape Town?
Yeah, Cape Town. Who's going to Africa?
You are.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I'm not. No funds, but I would love to, and I'm very jealous, but happy for you. And are you... the idea is there to do the same, right? You will continue on token bonding curves and see if you can like hash something out there as well, but nothing specific yet?
Yeah, well, the big thing is that before that is the Odyssey hackathon, and that's the big target. That's where we do Nature 2.0, and we really need a big team to put that off. And then whatever we do there, we'll build on for Cape Town.
Makes sense. So first Odyssey. So maybe like let's discuss Odyssey next week when Josh and Jeff are back to like see what came out of the separate tracks and how we could organize ourselves around this. I would love to go to the Odyssey because it's not far to me. It's just in Amsterdam. Okay. Those were my questions for Griff. Anyone other questions before Griff runs off? Nope. Okay. Paris, I guess we'll discuss that tomorrow, Lorelai? Oh, you're muted.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Griff.
We can discuss what tomorrow?
The blockchain week in Paris, like what we would do there, and like what.
Yeah, it was like a pretty initial proposal, but I'm sure it'll come out with tomorrow after the meeting.
Yeah, so I'm like fixing some dates to be sure that we have here like the right order of events because so much is coming up. At Denver is like that's February, so that's the first one that's coming up, right? So there's first at Denver, then we have Odyssey, then we have Cape Town, and then we have Odyssey, then we have Cape Town, and I'm missing one, and then we have Paris. Yeah. That's the order, I think.
No, Paris is before Cape Town.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put them in the right order. So, yeah. Go ahead, Lorelai.
When is Odyssey?
Odyssey is from the 11th until the 15th of April.
Okay, gotcha. So Denver, Paris, Odyssey, Cape Town.
Yeah. And you'll be at all of them, Lorelai?
Not the Odyssey one. That's like somewhere in Northern Europe, right?
It's in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's then yeah. So more to discuss next week when both of them come back, and of course, like on interested to see what's coming out of Denver. Bone will catch up on that. Then partnership with Women for Blockchain Hackathon, Lorelai. Did anything happen there, or is still Seed standing here and new?
I think Danny talked to her a little bit more too, but definitely nothing
pressing
was going to happen for the hackathon that she had coming up, which starts in 2 days.
Yeah, that was a bit too short notice. Danny, is she, because she responded to me in communities, but then I was traveling at the moment. Did she like want us to onboard her, or was there any next step to be taken?
Yeah, the next step is March. We're going to talk in March about how to collaborate for their event in New York in May.
Okay, I'll add that to the thingy. So I'll also add it to title, Partnership with Women for Blockchain, New York, May, so that we know to not forget about that one. Okay. I have other topics that are top of mind, but like other people, because I don't want to talk all the time.
I just wanted to add one thing that I entered a team for the hackathon in Paris. Jeff, Sponnet, and me, if other people want to join the hack. I don't know if it's possible to add people to the team. So we are pending.
You have an echo, guys, Lorelai and Kai. So you said you and Sponnet want to like participate in the hackathon, right? And on what topic are you gonna work?
With Jeff.
Cool. Jeff, Kai, and Sponnet on token bonding. So you guys are going for sure, right? And is that at CC or another part of it? Kai? Now you're muted, both of you. Now they're thinking of who's gonna unmute, I guess. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're going for sure.
Okay, so it's you, Sponnet, and Jeff are going for sure, and it's gonna be during at CC?
Yeah, it's after. I'm going to SCC, and we're still pending invitation. So only if we get accepted, we go, I guess. Yeah, we'll see.
But it's like, so the hackathon you mentioned is not at CC, it's like the thing afterwards, right?
I think it's afterwards.
Okay, cool. I personally paid already for the Ethereum Magicians because it's not for free, it's 35 euros. But we'll see, like, yeah, I'm just like see that as a sunken cost if we don't go as a team, because like staying in Paris is hugely expensive. So I might just not go, unfortunately. Well, we'll see what comes out of the discussion tomorrow and how the ETH price goes.
Yeah. Yeah, did you guys hear ETH is at 500 today?
No, that's a joke. What do you mean? Why are you?
Oh,
I would be so happy.
you're like, no, that's a joke and it's not funny.
Yeah, it's not funny. Okay, no, but we'll see.